Hi, this is Mempathy. My name is Cameron, and today I have a perpetual cowslick, so I will be wearing a hat. But more importantly, I will be sharing with you a step-by-step guide on how to connect with pretty well anyone. That sounds incredibly arrogant. All people are the same, right? Connecting with everyone should follow the same step-by-step guide. So this guide, it was kind of it's a combination of tactical empathy from Chris Voss. Some of the communication strategies I noticed people in Taiwan used when I used to live there, and from my own personal experience in my 17 moves of things that work and don't work. So I am happy to share with you. We're gonna just get into it right now. If you want to turn off this video after these steps, I would, thank you for joining me. But you are a busy person, so without further ado, here are the steps. Step 1. Call out the elephant in the room. Pardon me. What are all the negative things they might think about you and label them? Call them out. Step 2. Introduce yourself. Step 3. What is your current situation? Are you new to the neighborhood? Are you just lost? Step 4. What is an observation you've made about them? Do they look like they know where to find a good cocktail? Are they exceptionally well dressed? And step 5, ask a no-oriented question. A no-oriented question is essentially a question where instead of looking for a yes, you are looking for a no. So here is a demonstration of what these 5 steps look like together. Hi, I'm so sorry. This is going to sound incredibly annoying. My name is Cameron, and I'm new to town. You look like someone who knows how to find a good cup of coffee. Would it totally ruin your day if I asked you where your favorite coffee shops were? And that's pretty much it. You can, tweak it around, copy it verbatim, but that's basically kind of my go-to strategy to talk to someone where I have zero common ground with, where there's no context for why they should talk to me. So great. So thank you for joining me, if that's what you wanted. Great. I keep saying that. Let's go to the steps. Step 1, let's break it down. Calling out the elephant in the room. So we have a little thing inside our brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala it's like 2/3 of its purpose is like dealing with negativity. Basically, it's like two-thirds of it is negative, which is great for survival. Like when we were like cavemen, the caveman that was cautious of the saber-toothed tiger cave was probably the one that survived. So keeping that kind of realistic, like there's some real risks here. It's been very important for our survival. So it's a great thing. What is a common misconception, though, or just something to debunk, is that labeling a negative does not like enhance the negative. They say label a positive, it, enhances the positive, label a negative. It actually deactivates it. If you ever saw the movie 8 Mile with Eminem, what did he do, right? His opponent was coming at him. So he literally, wraps every single negative thing the other person could say about him first. And so when the other guy's turn was to go, he's like, I got nothing. You already did it. So, calling out the negatives. So if you're coming to someone's space, there's no introduction. There's been no referral, and you're talking to them. You want to address that because they're gonna be thinking, who is this person talking to me? What kind of multi-level marketing pyramid scheme am I getting myself into by going along? Is this just a walking telemarketer? So call it out. You don't want to waste their time, right? So choose one and go silent. So the one I used was, hi, I'm sorry. This is going to sound incredibly annoying. That's a great one to use. You could also go with, hi, I'm sorry. it'll probably seem like I'm just wasting your time. Or, hi, I'm sorry. You are deep in thought, and I am interrupting that. Yep, you're a creative person. Make a list. Come up, practice them. Okay. Step 2, introduce yourself. The reason I say introduce myself as opposed to like ask for their name is because we don't yet have credibility to ask for that. In this part of the conversation, that will probably feel like prying. It's even a lot of marketing techniques will constantly say your name because, it creates trust. And people are kind of getting used to that. People kind of know that strategy. When someone constantly says their name, it kind of triggers us. It triggers me for sure. So we want to introduce ourselves so that the other side will just keep their autonomy. Autonomy is really the name of the game. The other side should always feel like they are in control. So we will introduce ourselves, but we will not ask for their name. Step 3: discuss our present situation. This is to give it some context. We don't, maybe in like a cover letter or a professional email, you'd say like, I was referred to you by so and so, and having that like middle ground connection is very powerful. I mean, think about it. YouTube, it's a middle ground connecting my video to you. Facebook, Google, Uber, all of these are middlemen services. Essentially, they're not creating anything. So, using a middleman, honestly, if you have a referral, that's the go-to way to meet someone. I will 100% vouch for that every time. In this situation, we don't have one, so our middleman is kind of like a relatable experience, a point of empathy, being in a new city, being lost, maybe feeling you're at a conference or something and you just feel overwhelmed. These are kind of relatable situations which, by you mentioning it, it could encourage and it could invite empathy. So, step 4, we're going to mention an observation we make about them. So the observation I used in the example was, you look like someone who knows a good cup of coffee, or something like that. You can be very creative. It can be like, you look like someone who's been here before, or it seems like you have a handle of the situation. Making an observation about them. Using a label. We'll get into labels a bit more later, but a label is essentially, it seems like, it sounds like, it looks like, they are probably the most popular tool in the Black Swan Group's negotiation techniques. So if you're familiar with those at all, you're good. You got this. So we use a label here. Like, it looks like you are the kind of person who enjoys a good cocktail, who knows a good cocktail. Great. Okay. So the next step is definitely, I think, the most counterintuitive of all of them, is asking a no-oriented question instead of looking for yes. So this is going to sound ridiculous. This is going to sound totally counterintuitive. Yes actually takes away autonomy. Yes is actually a word that asks for, it demands commitment. And at this point of the conversation, we are in no position to get any sort of commitment from them. And like I said, autonomy is the name of the game. So if yes takes that autonomy away from someone, it's disqualified as an option. So what do we do? Well, people love saying no. No keeps us safe. Saying no, having the freedom to say no. There's that Jim Camp book, Start With No. Just knowing that saying no is a very freeing word. For an example, just close your eyes if you want. Think about how this feels. Is now a good time to talk? Is now a bad time to talk? Is going for sandwiches a good idea for lunch? Is going for sandwiches a bad idea for lunch? It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. Um, if you are in my example I shared, would it be? I forget. I forget my example. Um, it was essentially asking for uh, coffee, but in a way that they could say no to it, and that would be fine. Would it be a ridiculous question to ask for your favorite coffee shop? Would it be completely out of line to ask you where you like to eat sandwiches? Or to ask you what the best sandwich in town is? Something along those lines. So the point of this, so they're going to share something. If they say, going back to coffee shop, oh yeah, there's a Papa Joe's coffee shop on the corner. I don't know if that's real. Papa Joe's coffee on the corner, and they make a great cappuccino. Great. They've given us, it might sound just like simple, like, oh, small talk. No, they've given us so much valuable information. So much. What do we know about them from that? We know that cappuccinos are something they enjoy. We know that Joe's coffee shop, it's probably a local business. We know that they like to go to somewhere that supports their community. We know that a bit of example. Pardon me. We know that Joe's coffee shop on the corner. Convenience is important to them. Maybe they walk primarily public transit. So there's a lot of things we can kind of go with. So this is where we can use, going back to labels, like I mentioned, we can start using labels again, labels and mirrors. Cappuccinos, like, oh, it sounds it sounds like cappuccinos are your go-to drink for determining a good coffee shop. And they might correct you, which is honestly great. Correcting is kind of like an addiction. People love to correct you. What's that thing, right? If you want someone to write your essay out for you, write the essay out on like Reddit with incorrect information, and people will like just correct it for you. But if you ask for help, they won't just like leave you on red. You'll get those 2 blue check marks. But actually saying something incorrect, oh boy howdy, you can't keep up with all the information you'll get. So saying something incorrect, like the cappuccino thing, if it's wrong, and they correct you, it'll maybe feel a bit embarrassing for you. You might feel like, oh, we're off to a bad start. I'm saying things incorrect. For them though, correcting other people feels good. Offering a correction, it feels good. And what tends to happen is when we correct, we will then give even more information, which just gives us even more things to mirror, which is like repeating back the last 1 to 3 words, or a label that seems like, sounds like, looks like, tool. After we mirror or label though, like the calling out the elephant, we want to go silent. We want to give them space to share and to demonstrate that we're listening. By this will demonstrate curiosity. It won't demonstrate prying. This will demonstrate curiosity. Prying is something a lot of people, a lot of cultures, it's a very real concern. It's a very real concern. So engaging in a labels and mirror sort of way instead of questions, it'll encourage them. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. They will have. Where am I going with this? Right. It'll keep that flow of consciousness kind of going. They will have like that. What do they say? The labels are like opening the floodgates of information. It just it helps them guide. They get to stay on their own train of thought. Questions interrupt thought. So when you're meeting someone, it's like kind of like, but labels, mirrors, it just keeps it going. And the wonderful thing is you don't actually need to share much about yourself at all when you use labels and mirrors. the things you engage with what they're saying will tell them a lot about you. So can't vouch for them enough. I use them all the time. Uh, and this is going to keep that conversation going. You're probably going to leave the world of coffee shops pretty quickly and start talking about some things that are really important to them. So if at this point, maybe you do, they've both of you, one of you has a commitment to go do, it's time to leave. You can do, you can then ask for like, hey, that coffee shop you mentioned earlier, would you be able to send me the information for it? Like we're going to ask that as a no-oriented question and with an elephant in front of it. Hi, this is going to sound like I'm overstepping so many boundaries. This is going to sound like I'm trying to scam you for personal information. Would it be totally out of line for me to ask to me to get your phone number so I can share you my thoughts in the coffee shop after I go there? That's an example. Definitely an example you can use. But we definitely want to start with, okay, when you ask for, now we're asking for something. This is something we haven't really done yet. We want to call that out. We want to label that negative thought they'll be having. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna get a stalker. Like, you might think this might seem entirely inappropriate. Would we be able to exchange contact? What are the chances we could? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. This is gonna sound incredibly inappropriate. Would you be against sharing contact information so I could share my thoughts with you about the coffee shop? There we go. That's the one. That's the one. We got there. So you got the coffee shop information. You got a contact. So this is a very elaborate, a lot of stuff. It seems like a lot of information. I give a very technical overview, but one more time, really at the heart of it, it's call out the elephants, introduce yourself, mention your situation, listen, an observation about them, ask a no-oriented question, and demonstrate that you're listening to them. That's really it. Hi, I'm so sorry to bother you. This is going to sound incredibly invasive. My name is Cameron. I'm new to the neighborhood, and you look like someone who knows where to find a good tailor. Would you be against telling me where you go to get your clothes fitted? Wow, that was really weird. That's where I went. That's really it. That's really it. I invite you to try it out. You'll do great with it. You're gonna kind of be like Cameron. What you're gonna see how well this works in so many different situations, and you're gonna just like meeting new people. It's gonna be so easy. You're gonna be so much more confident. You're gonna feel so great, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you. Well, I've never done a video like this before where I try to just do all of it in one take. It's definitely long, but I had fun. Thanks for joining me. I had a great time. Okay, see you later.